Hey, Dr. Nuesse from EasyDOTphysicals.com back again with another video. This one is specifically for safety-sensitive employees and how marijuana rescheduling may affect drug testing in these employee groups that the federal government requires to be drug tested. So this is for CDL drivers, railroad workers, pilots, anybody that the federal government sees as a safety-sensitive position and requires them to be drug tested. All right, and before making this video, I did make a couple notes. I'll be looking down here at my computer. So just a review real quick, and I've done a full video on this, so check out that video if you want more detail. But the federal government, specifically the DEA, just decided to reschedule marijuana from a Schedule 1 substance to a Schedule 3 substance. So Schedule 1 being the most restrictive category of drugs to Schedule 3, which is the same as like codeine or steroids, prescription drugs. So again, that process I've done a full video on. Now, the FMCSA, the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration, has before all this implemented a process where they are moving towards the option for CDL drivers, safety-sensitive employees that we talked about, to be saliva tested, saliva drug tested instead of urine drug tested. And again, I've done a full video on why that is going to be a positive change and the implementation process, and actually the date in another video. Again, check out this video for more details. But the point is that they've already implemented this process, and I believe this process is going to play out, and that testing will continue for safety-sensitive employees, drug testing, and I do believe that marijuana will be part of that drug testing. Now, what do I think is going to happen is, now that it is a Schedule 3 substance, similar to other prescription drugs, that marijuana will now be tested primarily as a saliva test. I think they're figuring out that the urinalysis doesn't make much sense. It doesn't really catch people that are under the influence currently of marijuana. It looks back months and months and months. On a urinalysis, marijuana can stay in your system for 3 months, maybe I've heard even longer. So what they're moving towards is saliva testing, and I believe now with this change in the law, they're going to move marijuana at least to exclusively be a saliva test. This might not be for another year or two out, but that's the direction that they're going. Similarly to, again, if you're a CDL driver, how you will be drug tested, but you will also be alcohol tested, and they will happen separately. So maybe what happens is all of the drug testing now is done by a saliva test. And that would be good, because all of the other drugs, cocaine, amphetamines, everything else in a 5-panel that we're looking for on a urinalysis has the same testing window basically on a urinalysis that it does on a saliva sample. So you'll still catch people under the influence or using those other types of drugs in the same amount of time. The only difference will be the marijuana time frame will be much shorter. Instead of up to 3 months, you're talking 2 or 3 days. So it might be all saliva testing for all drug testing, or potentially it could be urinalysis for 4 drugs and saliva only for the marijuana. Again, that's speculation, but I believe that's the way that it's going, that marijuana testing will exclusively be done with a saliva test, as it is right now. The FMCSA change, I just want to make sure this is very clear, is that the employer now has the option, or will have the option next year, to have saliva testing done instead of a urinalysis. Urinalysis is now currently the standard. It's the only thing that the federal government will accept, but they have realized that it just doesn't make any sense. There's a worker shortage, a driver shortage. They've got to get people on the road doing these jobs, and the fact that people can't pass marijuana tests for several months, there's a bottleneck there to get employees into these positions. So they are loosening up those laws. So it will still be tested for. Just because it's moved to Schedule 3 with other Schedule 3 drugs, again, like codeine, like steroids, That does not mean that it won't be tested for. It's different than these other drugs. So marijuana isn't like most other Schedule III drugs because it is intoxicating. So it is not safe to operate large machineries, fly a plane, operate a train, an 18-wheeler while high. It just isn't. Anybody will tell you that. So you may argue that abusing other Schedule III drugs, and the big one would be like ketamine, can be intoxicating as well, and I will agree with that, but not if used as it's prescribed. So marijuana will be tested for. So the test for marijuana for safety-sensitive employers will not go away. What I believe will happen is beginning of next year, end of this year, beginning of next year, because I did get the date confirmed from the FMCSA, saliva testing will be an option. So your employer will be allowed to saliva test you, or they can still choose to do the urinalysis. And then after that, marijuana at least will exclusively go to a saliva test, which again will shorten that testing window. Okay, I hope that clears it up for all of you truck drivers out there, CDL drivers, pilots, all the people that have been asking me questions about what happens now with the safety-sensitive drug testing, safety-sensitive employee drug testing. Stay subscribed here. The updates are coming fast. I'm going to be making new videos as new information comes out, and marijuana videos are becoming harder and harder to find on YouTube because YouTube is cracking down on the word marijuana in descriptions and titles. But if you're subscribed here, you'll never miss an update. All right, until next time, everybody, stay safe.